And here's another article from True North News from Andrew Lawton. Climate catastrophism has to stop. And the article goes on, we're told not to question the government's global warming narrative because the science is settled. Except it isn't. Not when the science is often just politically charged climate catastrophism. Former Finance Minister Joe Oliver joined True North's Andrew Lawton to explain. So you can watch the video there. But yeah, you see that, like that earlier video of the Australian MP. These guys that are climate catastrophists aren't being listened to. And that's because of the media landscape now, right? It's all wrapped up together.
Exactly. It's all, once it's exposed, you see who it is. You see them doing their other things, right? So, and by them, I mean the WEF and their different agendas, right?
Right, yeah. And I think part of the reason that they're starting to look so crazy is that now people are starting to look at them as the crazy conspiracy theorists, and they hate that because that's what they're calling everybody who's telling the truth.
Yeah, exactly. Because people have actually seen it and can see these agendas playing out in real time in their communities or their cities or their countries.
They sure can. And here is an article that I'll remind you of. We've had this on the show before, but this is from June 8th, back to when the Alberta wildfires were just starting up. And the headline here, this is on Chat News Today, but from Medicine Hat, but it says Alberta Premier downplays link between wildfires and climate change. Okay, this was back in June 8th. Edmonton, Premier Danielle Smith says the government is bringing in arson investigators from outside the province to trace the cause of the unprecedented wildfires in Alberta. In an interview with Real Talk, Ryan Jesperson, he asked Smith how she reconciles her government's energy policies with the fact experts have linked this year's extreme fire season to climate change. Smith responded that she's concerned about arson when it comes to about 175 wildfires in Alberta with no known cause, and said the province would bring in additional investigators. They have since arrested people and charged them for the arsons. Well, some. But that's where it was back then. And that's where it still is today, which is more people want answers as to who's starting these wildfires, right? Rather than just chalking it up to global warming, which is what the globalists wanted us to do.
Absolutely.
Just wanted us
it's not working.
Yeah.
At all. Like most people, and we were talking, it's not going to work because people are awake.
Yeah.
People see what they're trying to do with this.
Yeah, so we can see how their plan is thwarted, because really their primary goal was that everybody would be like, oh no, climate change is lighting all these forest fires on fire.
Climate boiling.
Yeah, climate boiling. But the first thing people are jumping to is that they're all man-made fires. Now, and here's the next video we have. It's not just in Canada, but I just show you, like, Danielle Smith going after people for arson. Like, that's high level. That's a premier of a province that we're hearing that from. So it's at the highest level. The Quebec one, where all the fires started at the exact same time, I mean, people know that that's foul play, for sure. Yeah. One way or another. I mean, there's all kinds of theories on how they might have done it.
They're happening all over the place. A whole bunch just started in Texas, too, I believe.
Yeah.
It's very recent, too.
Yeah, so this is a video out of Greece, and it's a guy explaining, like, he's just on the ground fighting the fires and, like, helping organize things, and he's getting interviewed, and he knows exactly how the fires in Greece started. Check this out.
Now, Ted, what are the people saying? Because I've had reports that, obviously a lot of people are talking about this as though it's all because of climate change. Why are these fires starting?
These fires are starting by human hand. We found methane and propane gas tanks in the forests. It's not by climate change. They are an attack on our community, to be honest. A lot of friends are in the front lines right now trying to deal with it.
Yeah, so I'll pause it there. They're finding all these propane and methane tanks out there in the woods that are starting off these fires.
Well, and he's absolutely right. It is an attack.
Yeah.
Because we are under attack and have been, because they're trying to take over our democracies.
Yeah, it's a war. So these are weapons of war. And in last episode, we showed the manual for using forest fires as weapons of war. And, we didn't show the manual, but in part of one of the videos, it showed the cover of the manual. But yes, this stuff has been around and developed by the Forestry Service ever since 1970 in the United States, at least, if not before that. And we can see it, the one way or another, the forest fires are being used to drive policy for these politicians who work for the World Economic Forum, right?
I mean, and again, like I've said before, they could all be being started different ways, but exactly what you said is correct. They're being used for policy initiatives and to cause fear and panic. And again, it's kind of like, where exactly are they taking this? Like, we know where they want to, the end, where they fully want to take this. But it's kind of like you don't know exactly which direction they're going to go. But they've clearly are ramping this up.
Yeah. Oh,
it's not working.
They're ramping it up huge. And then the question is, like, there's some people talking about what kind of weapons are they using to start these fires, especially in Hawaii. There's tons of people talking about direct energy weapons or whatever. I mean, it could be as simple as propane tanks as well in Maui, but if there was enough of them, it would probably look like something crazy happened. But here's a post by Kaneko the Great. We're talking about the Maui wildfires, and particularly the city of Lahaina on Maui was just completely obliterated. And so people are talking about, like, how, like, there's fire vortex, like 1,000-degree flame tornadoes people are talking about, which is just amazing to
There's
think about.
a lot of people talking about this, and just the images, when you look at them, they're just like, there's something off. Like, my initial questions, I want to see if, quote unquote, the official explanation on how this transpired and what exactly happened here.
Yeah, so we got a bunch of stuff surrounding this. So this is just the opening picture I'm showing you. It shows the beautiful little town of Lahaina that has now been completely obliterated, like it got hit by a nuke. Like, everything is burnt. It's gone. And then we got the next video here, or next image here, shows a bunch of the cars that were left on Front Street, which is right on the ocean, and all of them 100% completely incinerated. So it is some pretty shocking views.
Yeah, like the tires are gone on the first one.
Yeah.
Like the rubber tires and those things burn for hours.
Yeah. Yeah, they can burn for hours. Yeah, for sure. And especially since it's like, oceanside facing, you'd think the flames. Bizarre. Yeah, like it would.
Let us know what you think, but it looks really bizarre, doesn't it?
It does look bizarre. This looks like a scene out of an apocalyptic movie.
It looks horrific, but I mean, it just does. Yeah, it doesn't seem like a sporadic wildfire.
Yeah, we'll jump over to a video here. This is going to pan this Front Street, and it's going to show you the very strange appearance of all these cars. Again, very hard to jump to conclusions. If you got a 1,000-degree flame tornado, maybe this is what it does. But here's the view of the vehicles. So it's just panning over. Everything's burnt very uniformly, except for like one or two.
Two cars, yeah, you'll see them on the right. Kind of towards the end.
Yeah.
I think.
And then this next video here, it comes from the U.S. Coast Guard base. And so they have coverage of the fires from like a distance across the water. I guess from probably one of the boats, maybe. Yeah, so this is a moving boat.
Looks like it's a boat. Yeah.
And it just shows, like, look how wide that fire is. It's just
that's what's interesting too. It's the whole coastline. It looks like, yeah.
Okay, we got an overhead plane shot here. Just almost no buildings left with any walls or anything. The only thing left is the stuff built up of cobblestone.
It looks like it's the coast mostly, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's right all along the coast. Well, that's as far as they can see, I guess.
Yeah.
Look at that.
What we're looking at.
Oh man, some of the boats even, they're sitting in the water and then they get the back end completely burned off. So that's some crazy devastation.